Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Oh God, driving Sam and riding passenger side, and you heard it out the mouth of the greatest rapper alive. Go gang.
All right, winter is on the horizon. Make sure you guys go to the top line of the description box right where you see this beautiful young lady advertising our new Hip Hop Uncensored merch right now. The link is at the top line of the description box. Do not wait. All right, man, I appreciate you guys checking in the Hip Hop News Uncensored. As you know, hit the like button, you know what I mean, share the video, and most importantly, subscribe to Hip Hop News Uncensored.
This will go down in history. This is hip hop history right here, whether it be good, bad, or whatever. We seen like I said, he almost carried himself like a comic book villain, and the comic book villain went down today or yesterday. Condolences to his family, condolences to his friends, his close friends, condolences to the people who all lives were affected by this situation, because you guys are the ones that really deserve the condolences and really deserve to kind of have your arms around, you know what I mean, today. Outside of that, grown men doing grown men business in the streets handle that.
Yeah. Well, that last thing I want to talk about this one before we get up out of here. Rich Porter's niece reacts to the death of Alpo Martinez, and she apparently said, every dog has their day. Now my uncle can finally rest in peace 32 years later. It's just the pain my mother felt all these years. I've been feeling the pain with her. Every dog has their day, and today it was his. I believe in karma, and I'm glad that I was here to witness it.
32 years of suffering from the family.
Yeah.
They got a movie that is iconic within the hip-hop community that was based around the death of their family member. They have every right to feel any way they want to right now. And it ain't a goddamn place, any of us, to judge how they feel in this particular moment. Because ain't nobody going to tell me how to feel if that happened to mine.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. It's one of those things you don't really feel it until it happens to you.
Right.
Unless somebody kills one of your family members, you don't, then for it to be glorified and people walking around in the street, it's like, come on, dog. And movies and shit made out of it. Like, you ain't gonna feel it unless it hit home. That's what I'm gonna say.
Indeed. So I'm glad that Rich Porter's family finds some peace right now. Condolences to Alpo Martinez family. The story is far from over. I'm sure some more history to be told on this.
Well, some people were actually celebrating. We'll get into that though. Kingpin, New York kingpin turned snitch, Alpo Martinez was killed over the weekend on a street corner in Harlem. Now, the 55-year-old, was just released from jail maybe 6-7 years ago. He's been walking the streets freely, doing his thing. Did a couple interviews, I think. And finally, about 3 a.m., I think it was in the morning, he was shot, they say, in his chest and killed, Sam, man. Now, I know you've been seeing a lot of comments, just like I've been seeing a lot of comments.
Yep.
A lot of people are happy. A lot of people are happy that he passed away. What do you think about, we ain't got a chance to talk about this together yet.
Yeah.
What do you think about Alpo Martinez, Poe, being murdered in his home city of Harlem, New York?
I don't, the emotion is kind of, I'm looking at it from an outside perspective. Now, obviously, we heard the stories, and for the people who don't know behind the scenes, we were in conversation to have him on our show. Yeah. And man, would have been electric. It was probably sometime in 2020 where we had a connection that was in conversations with him, and we had a conversation through mutual people, and it was supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. Didn't happen for whatever reason, and that is history as it is. But when you look at this situation, they know his story, and they know him as being the person that went and told on them brothers from D.C. that went and killed his former best friend and Rich Porter over what people will never really understand who weren't there. And as a person, it's easy to go ahead and spew a biased opinion on based off of what you saw and how you feel. But as reporters, I'm gonna have a responsibility and kind of just looking at it all ways and just going, we weren't involved in that situation that night, that what happened with him and Rich Porter. We weren't involved in that situation where he seemingly snitched and got his way out of a situation. And until we know all spectrums or all full stories of the situation, we never can really pass judgment on that. And it's the difference between passing judgment on this and on the 6ix9ine, where the dude is almost a provocateur, like my cuz likes to say, and he's insinuating violence and insinuating people to go behind bars based off his actions. That being said, since he was released and hearing all the information, it's almost like, and I said this on Viral, he kind of adapted this villainous comic book character. You know what I'm saying? Where he knew people hated him for what he did on all different aspects, and he almost dared them to say, what you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Yeah, I told. Yeah, I killed. What are you going to do about it? I hear a lot of shit on the internet, but what are you going to do about it? And somebody last night did something about it, and or 2 nights ago did something about it. And I also said this, and I'll turn it to you. He lived by the gun, and I'm sure ultimately he realized and had it in his heart that he would eventually die from the gun. So if Alpo was here to answer his own question on whether or not this would happen to him ultimately, I think that he would know it would go out this way.
Yeah, and right now they haven't found the people. They said he was hit 5 times. Just looking over the report here, and I gotta say this too, because you talk about Rich Porter, and then there's been reports that Rich Porter's family was drinking champagne, celebrating. I just seen that on the New York, either Post or Daily News, either one of those, or the Times, one of those. Excuse me if I'm wrong, but you look at this dude and you said not only Rich Porter, but he's accused of killing like 15, 14 other people, at the time that he was arrested. I think it was in 91 or 92. So, like you said, you live by the gun, you die by the gun. I don't wish death on nobody, but then I immediately started thinking about, what about the Rich Porter's family? What about the families of all the other people who were allegedly, according to the F.E.D.S, he was indicted for all of this, selling drugs and murders and all that. What about those people's families, that had to mourn year after year? And then, death, I forgot who we had here talking about it. They were talking about, it was actually Shaheem from the Wu. He was talking about, because he actually accidentally killed the guy driving. He ran a stoplight. He was like, it affects years on, because now these kids ain't got a father. Now a wife loses a husband, and the family for years, and they never get to regroup from this because you took away their family member. So I hear a lot of people rejoicing about it. I'm not going to be the guy that does that, but one thing I understand and one thing I know for sure is that what goes around kind of comes around. I think you put it best when you put, like, you out there shooting people, killing people. Most of the time, not all, some people get away with it, but most of the time it comes back to you. And it just so happened that it was time for him, by the appointment of whoever's up there, to be taken out. Now, I believe that he was probably set up, being, I think it was early in the morning. So how did people know he was out there? Who gave the drop on him? I don't know. But you left this whole trail, even though you went away for 25, 35 years, you left this whole trail of destruction, and you got people sitting and waiting like, you know what? I'm not just going to let it go that you took this person out. I'm not just going to let it go that you told on us. When I get an opportunity, I'm going to find you. Somebody put in the comment section, karma is the most patient gangster. And I'm not saying that. Again, I'm not saying karma. That's not me. I'm reading what the people said. But as journalists, we got to call this thing down the middle and look at all sides of this thing. Now, I feel for his family. I know a lot of people be like, why you care about a rat? I don't want to see us keep killing each other. I don't want to see that. But the streets, they have their own rules, and usually they follow suit on how they follow suit.
You said it best. I feel for his family. I feel for his children. I feel for his wife. I feel for his mother, his grandmother, people out there that had absolutely nothing to do with what he did out here on the street as the monster that he was on the time that it was. They had nothing to do with that. Rich Porter's family drinking champagne right now has every right to do that. They were tormented for this situation for decades, and they watched that brother walk around with pretty much immunity as he talked about it very coldly in interviews and play-by-play on how it all went down. So you lost a brother, I lost a cousin. If anything happened to homeboy, I wouldn't do anything less than rejoice. Fuck him. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. So I understand that. With all that being said, you got a lot of fuck niggas going in on the internet that's going to run their mouths very loosely that would never say these type of things to that man's face. And that's the corny part about it. And that's where we got to go, wait, hold on, nope. Let's take our personal feelings out of whatever situation it is, and let's call this thing right down the middle. And it's absolutely no disrespect to Rich Porter's family. It's no disrespect to Alpo Martinez's family. But at the end of the day, we know what he did. We don't know the ins and outs of every particular part of that situation, so we got to give credence to the entire thing and report it how we see it. And he will ultimately go down as a pinnacle in hip hop, because he's definitely a pillage in hip hop, good or bad. And this will go down in history. This whole story